All right, we are back here for our fourth segment here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, our fourth and final one, talking about some news around the league, some stories I want to talk about. Maybe they didn't deserve their own segment, but still stuff that I thought was notable around the league and some things I wanted to touch on. So the first thing I want to touch on here before I forget it is that while on the break I was checking if I missed anything, and other than it officially being the start of free agency in the NFL, obviously that's not my sport, so I won't be talking about that. I learned that Yoshinobu Yamamoto struck out the side in the first inning of his Dodgers outing, so continuing a strong spring for Yamamoto, showing why the Dodgers gave him that huge monster contract. So definitely living up to it so far, I'd say. Definitely a guy that has been worth the money, kind of shutting up the naysayers right now because there's a lot of people that didn't really agree with the contract he got. So yeah, definitely looking forward to watching him in the season. I mean, I'm such a big believer in Yamamoto. I've talked about that a lot. The fact that I do think he is such an amazing pitcher, such an amazing guy, and such an amazing talent in this league. I really think that. Sorry about that. I know it's just bothering, so I had to move that quickly. But such an amazing talent in this league. A guy that I really, really am high on for his future. A guy that I can't say enough nice things about Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Obviously, I thought he was going to end up my team, the Mets, so I did a lot of research on him. Unfortunately, he didn't, which broke my little heart. But definitely a guy that's been worth the contract so far and is continuing his great spring with the Dodgers. Sorry about that. The next thing we're going to be talking about is the Rays and Taj Bradley. Taj Bradley was shut down for 2 weeks today and is going to be opening the season on the IL. I talked about him yesterday with the fact that he's getting an MRI and for his pec, and obviously didn't come out great as he is shut down for 2 weeks and will be opening the season on the IL. Not great news for the Rays, who just keep getting hit with pitching injuries. Of course, Shane McClanahan, Jeffrey Springs, Tyler Glasnow trade as well. So they're definitely short on pitching right now, and I think Taj Bradley being shut down just isn't a great help with that. He hasn't been great in his MLB start. Sorry about this cat here. Nope, sorry. He hasn't been great in his MLB career so far, but still a guy that I think is definitely going to be a big part of that Rays future. A guy that I definitely think is still a really good player, and I think is really going to be a big part of that future for the Rays. And I'm still looking forward to watching. He hasn't had a great start to his career, but I still think has a lot of potential in there, has really good pitches, so definitely someone here still to watch for the Rays, and a guy I think is of big importance to their future, and he does come off the IL in 2 weeks, so I'm looking forward to watching him then and seeing what happens there. After that, we have Michael Lorenzen and the Chicago White Sox. They've been rumored to be deep into talks with Michael Lorenzen, as Ken Rosenthal said in his article about Dylan Cease yesterday, that he's kind of looked at as a replacement for Dylan Cease when they end up trading him. That might not be now, but it could be in the future as well. I think he does get traded now, as I talked about Cease in the first segment, of course. I think it's to the Rangers. We've covered that. But other than that, I think Lorenzen is a valuable replacement for Cease. He obviously isn't bring the amount of value that Cease does, considering Cease is one of the better pitchers in baseball. And Lorenzen is a good pitcher, but not a guy that's of ace level. So, sorry about this, guys. So I definitely think Lorenzen makes a lot of sense here. I think it could be maybe a 2-year deal, maybe worth $20-25 million. Helps a lot in the fit. Helps a lot with their rotation, with his fit there. So definitely someone to look for if you're a White Sox fan, if you're a baseball fan, with Michael Lorenzen, and what could potentially happen there. So definitely something to watch here if you're a White Sox fan and you're a baseball fan. Mike Lorenzen is the White Sox. Hopefully we get some more news. Believe me, I'm hoping for it. Jackson Merrill, he is most likely making the Padres opening day roster. He is traveling with them to Seoul, South Korea, where the Padres are opening up the MLB season. against the Dodgers for the international game. Merrill is most likely going to be their center fielder as they have the whole infield covered. I mean, Joe Cronenworth, Ha-Sung Kim, Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado. Kind of hard to find a spot there when that's your infield, so he is going to be shifting to the outfield. Will most likely be playing center field. Obviously, they need a lot of help in the outfield. You have Tatis, you have Jose Azocar, you have Jurickson Profar, but that's kind of it. They've been mentioning guys we talked about yesterday, like Tommy Pham, Michael A. Taylor, Adam Duvall. But I think moving Merrill to the outfield for right now is the best way to field the best team you have. I think Merrill has shown he's a MLB ready player, and moving him to the outfield to get him a spot in the team is a smart thing to do, and I do agree with the decision. Exciting for Padres fans that another top prospect is going to be on the opening day roster. J.D. Davis and the Mets have been talking about a potential return, which is somewhat surprising. Obviously, J.D. Davis was released by the Giants after not being able to find a trade partner after them moving on from him because of the Matt Chapman signing. Of course, J.D. Davis got to the Giants in the infamous Darren Ruff trade for the Mets, where they traded him away, and in what people call a really horrible trade for the Mets, getting Darren Ruff. It wasn't that bad for us, I want to just say. Darren Ruff was not a good player for us. Did not work out, but it wasn't a horrible trade considering what we gave up. But that's a story for a different day. So not something I can get into now. But I think J.D. Davis and the Mets talking is very intriguing. What we've heard is that the Mets like him because he can play a lot of positions. He can play first, he can play third, he can play the outfield, the corners. He has experience in New York playing for the Mets for a few years as well. That's very helpful. David Stearns has already said, I want guys who know how to play in New York, who are up to the bright lights, who know how to play here. So Davis obviously has. I think the Mets kind of view him as an insurance policy. If he can play a lot of positions. So if Beatty doesn't work out at third, he can play there. If Mark Vientos doesn't work out at DH, you can play him there. If Brandon Nimmo or Starling Marte get hurt again, he can play one of the corners for a little bit. He's kind of going to play that 10th man role if he does get signed by the Mets, I believe, kind of like what Merrifield is going to for the Phillies this year. So I definitely think there is a fit here for J.D. Davis and the Mets. It is kind of funny, though, because of the whole history of Darren Ruff with them. Davis being traded, kind of saying that he feels better with the Giants now because he's not constantly on his toes about being replaced or being traded or being released, something like that. And now would you look at that, the Mets are talking to him again after he got released. So I think there's kind of a funny history there, but definitely something to watch here if you're a Mets fan. J.D. Davis potentially returning. I think there's other fits for him there as well, around the league as well. I think the Mariners are a fit. I think the Blue Jays are. They've been mentioned in the past. So a lot of teams that could look for J.D. Davis, but the Mets talking to him right now is extremely interesting in itself, and I think is very notable. Justin Wilson opted out of his Dodgers spring minor league contract. Not big news, but I wanted to talk about it. It lessens the bullpen depth for the Dodgers. He probably wasn't going to play a huge deal in there, but he's had a nice spring so far. And I think you can never have enough reliever depth, especially veteran relievers who are lefties. It's really not too much of that you can have. So, yeah, definitely not great for the Dodgers, but again, it's not a huge deal. I mean, if anyone can survive depth problems with the Dodgers, I mean, they just have so many good players. The fact is that it really doesn't matter if one of these guys opts out. So I'm interested now to see if Justin Wilson goes to a different team in a major league contract, kind of tries to get his career back on track after some injury problems for a team that he can definitely make the opening day roster with. So, definitely something interesting to watch and see where he ends up. So, definitely going to be watching Justin Wilson in the coming days. O'Neal Cruz, he is lighting up spring training right now. He currently has 5 home runs in spring training, is showing that bid to be a franchise player for the Pirates. I talked about him a little yesterday as well, but I think he is an extension candidate for the Pirates. He's kind of become the forgotten man there with all the young talent they've had because he was injured last year. But he still is a great player, still is an athletic freak. An absolute amazing athlete and a guy you look for to, be a huge guy there. So, I think he is going to probably be their opening day second baseman or shortstop. I think the Pirates would be wise to try and lock him up right now with the way he's swinging the bat. I mean, 5 home runs in spring training is nothing to cough at. Even though it is spring training, the fact that he is showing these things, he's showing that the injury didn't affect him that much, and he still is the O'Neill Cruz, the guy we know of, the guy that mashes baseballs, the guy that is very threatening at the plate. I mean, huge guy, super athletic, super muscular, very intimidating. So, yeah, definitely a guy to watch here if you are a Pirates fan, baseball fan, really just seeing how his future ends up and how he does play for the future. So, yeah, definitely someone to watch if you're a baseball fan and see where he ends up and see how his career keeps going. It's very exciting to watch him right now and seeing what's going on with him and how he does keep progressing in his career. So definitely looking forward to watching him in the future and seeing if he does live up to the massive potential he has. So definitely someone super intriguing to see. Recapping here a little bit, we talked about Taj Bradley and the fact that he is starting the season on the IL, hurting the already depleted Rays pitching depth. Michael Lorenzen to the White Sox, a potential fit because of a potential Dylan Cease trade happening soon. Jackson Merrill making the Padres opening day roster, most likely. Great sign for the Padres, getting their young guys involved already. Always a great fit. J.D. Davis potentially returning to the Mets. They've had recent talks with him, and I think it would make sense as kind of an insurance policy on their young players like Brett Beatty, like Mark Vientos, their injury risk guys as well, like Nimmo and Marte. Justin Wilson opting out of his Dodgers deal, and O'Neill Cruz being great in spring training so far, which is a great sign for the Pirates for the season. So, yeah, I want to thank you guys so much for watching today's episode of the GSMC Baseball Podcast. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing, supporting the content in any way that you can. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram for more content and updates, really anywhere you can see us. So thank you so much for the support. Remember to subscribe, hit that bell, and thank you. We'll have a wonderful day, and we'll see what baseball throws us tomorrow. So thanks, and see you later. Bye.
Mm-hmm. 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 Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go.